Naoya Inoue and his team dropped some news that's actually old, because we already knew about this news that isn't new. But it's nice that they confirmed this news. And you know who will be new too? That'd be Nick Ball. Let's check his reaction. Now, I know you're probably wondering, like, what is this news that has Nick Ball throwing such a tantrum? Well, Naoya Inoue has just confirmed what we already said some months ago, that he'll be fighting Alan David Picasso Romero in December, right? December 27th to be exact. And Nick Ball, that's not good news for him because he just realized that he'll actually and finally have to fight somebody his own size.
Hello guys, this is Romero.
Yo, my name is Nonito Donaire. What's up guys, Designer's Eyes.
We're here with Bob Santos Boxing.
And I rock with Dr. Boxing Talk.
I want to give a quick shout out to Dr. Boxing Talk.
And I want to give a big shout out to Dr. Boxing Talk. Thank you for all the love, thank you for all the support.
You're rocking with Dr. Boxing Talk. Get your daily news from my man right here, the best in the business. Let's get it, baby.
All day, baby.
Amen.
Bam!
If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. If I tell you I'm no good, you know one line.
Yo, what's good, Boxing Talk family? Welcome back to your favorite boxing news channel, Dr. Boxing Talk. We are back for another YouTube video. Banger, man. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I don't know what time it is. A doctor's in the house, man. So check this out. But before we get to it, let's go ahead and smack that like button. Let's do it together. Appreciate you. This helps us keep going and growing on this YouTube platform. But check this out. Naoya Inoue, who has a showdown up and coming with Akhmadaliev that's long overdue. He'll be fighting him on September 14th. Yes, the same weekend of the massive showdown between Saul Canelo Alvarez, aka Cinnamon, against Terrence Bud Crawford, aka Budrick. You know, they'll be showing down. They'll be having their showdown, and then Naoya Inoue will be fighting Akhmadaliev the very next day. So I think that fight is going to be great, you know, and I think that Akhmadaliev represents a solid opponent, the first solid opponent that Naoya Inoue has had in quite some time, you know, because he just fought Ramon Cardenas and TJ Doheny and Yi Jun Kim, and those guys weren't really formidable like that. No disrespect to them, it's just the truth, right? But Akhmadaliev, you know, being an interim title holder and a guy that was in the mandatory position for the WBA for a while, he definitely demonstrates, he definitely is an example of a strong opponent, you know. I think Naoya Inoue will win, but he cannot overlook Akhmadaliev. But some people are like, hold on, he might be overlooking him. And his team, maybe not Naoya Inoue specifically, but his team and his promoters and his handlers, because they have just released that they will be fighting on December 27th, none other than Mexico's own Alan David Picasso Romero. I know it's a lot of names, right? Alan David Picasso Romero, you know. And if you remember right, he was supposed to fight him a little while ago, but his team decided that he wasn't really ready for Naoya Inoue. At least that's what they're saying around the boxing streets, right? And so that's why Ramon Cardenas stepped in. Was it Ramon Cardenas or Yi Jun Kim? No, Yi Jun Kim had to step in for Sam Goodman, right? Yeah, so Ramon Cardenas stepped in for Picasso, like I said, right? So now they're finally about to have this showdown. But for me, no disrespect to Picasso Romero, he just beat Kameda. It was a very close fight. He won by majority decision, and that was Kameda's actual second loss in a row, right? Because right before that, he lost to another Mexican fighter in Luis Neri by stoppage. So Picasso Romero, to me, I mean, he looked good enough, I guess, to get the victory, to squeak by, but he no disrespect to him, but there's nothing about him that convinces me that he's going to be a suitable opponent for Naoya Inoue. But, you know, let Naoya Inoue be active. And like I said, most importantly to me, what this symbolizes that Naoya Inoue is staying at 122 super bantamweight. And I'm gonna tell you why that's good news. Not because he's not fighting Nick Ball. Like I said, it's bad news for Nick Ball, because if those of you that pay attention, you know Nick Ball is 126 WBA featherweight champion. Well, his last opponent came from 122 and Sam Goodman, and then his opponent before that was TJ Doheny. Yeah, the 38-year-old who already had 5 losses and also came from 122. In fact, he was just coming from a stoppage loss to Naoya Inoue, moved up and fought Nick Ball. Now it's his 2 title defenses, right? He did have another title defense against Ronnie Rios, but even Ronnie Rios, he has some fights at 126 as well, but he also has some fights at 122. And in the last 2 years or 3 years, he actually had more fights at 122 than he had at 126. So Nick Ball has kind of recently been on a streak of fighting guys that aren't in his division. Now, of course, he's a shorter fighter. So when you say, oh, you know, they're not the same size as him, a lot of people think about size in a vertical dimension. You know, that's height. Size is also mass, you know, it's mostly mass. You know, that's why weight divisions are separated by weight and mass, not just height, right? So you could be tall and thin, or you could be short and stocky, you know, as long as you weigh the same, that's what matters, you know. So he's been fighting guys, his last two guys for sure, Sam Goodman and TJ Doheny, that were smaller than him, you know, even if they weren't shorter than him. So Nick Ball, I think that this is good for him because, you know, there's guys like Bruce Shushu Carrington who wants a title shot, right? There's also Angelo Leo, you know, who's the IBF champion, who wants unifications. I'm sure Espinosa, who's a WBO champion, would like a unification. I mean, Stephen Fulton, he's going he's the WBC belt holder. He's going to fight Oshiki Foster at 130 because, you know, he wasn't getting unifications. That's what he said. So now Nick Ball, who's been trying desperately to get Naoya Inoue, hopefully he can move on and fight actual guys that are in his division at 126 instead of pulling guys up from 122 in the hopes of getting a Naoya Inoue. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's good from that note. And then I also think it's good from another standpoint and another perspective is that he's staying at 122 like we predicted. So this means that Junto Nakatani, assuming that Naoya Inoue keeps winning, like he beats MJ Akhmadaliev and then goes on and beats Romero, hopefully Nakatani wins his debut at 122. That means that we could actually get the Nakatani and Inoue Super Showdown, you know, in 2026, good Lord willing. So this is great from all from all sides, you know what I'm saying? And I think this is good news. Now, like I said, I'm not really particularly excited about Inoue fighting Alan David Picasso Romero specifically, but just what it means for the sport. You know, it means that we could be that much closer to Inoue versus Nakatani, and then we could also get some unifications potentially at 126 because Nick Ball will stop holding out, in my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. I don't know y'all want my prediction, but those of you that are familiar with the channel, you know what I think. Inoue is top 3 pound for pound. He is a phenomenal fighter. You know what I'm saying? 2 times undisputed and undefeated while doing it, just like Terrence Bud Crawford or Alexander Usyk. However, I think that, you know, I would rarely go against him. But when it comes to Junto Nakatani, I got to make an exception. And I know that Naoya Monster Inoue, he is the monster. I think Junto Nakatani is going to be the monster slayer. But that doesn't mean that I'm for sure, you know, absolutely certain, like it's definitive. No, this is a great fight because anything can happen. Inoue could get knocked out and put to sleep, but Nakatani could get knocked out and put to sleep too. So that's why I want to salute both of them for, you know, hopefully bringing that fight into fruition. But I don't want to speak too soon because MJ Akhmadaliev is a tough opponent. I do lean towards Naoya Inoue, but if anybody could do it as of Naoya Inoue's most recent opponents, it would definitely be MJ Akhmadaliev. So let's see how it goes, man. I appreciate y'all rocking with me as always. Look forward to September 14th to see Naoya Inoue versus MJ Akhmadaliev, and then potentially in the future we could see Inoue versus David Allen Picasso Romero on December 27th. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. Don't forget to smack that like button, but most importantly, remember, with God, we can do anything. Without God, we're nothing. The doctor's out. Peace. From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold, we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.